Hey guys, it's me CriticalCubing, and today we are going to see what we can learn from Sebastian's 4x4 sub-20 single solve. Sebastian recently set two world records, the average world record with a low 24 and the 4x4 single world record with a 19-second solve. And this is the first sub-20 4x4 solve, and we shall take a look at the solve and see what we can learn from it. This is the same scramble as the one that Sebastian got, and Sebastian uses the Yao method for solving the 4x4, and the first step of the Yao method is solving opposite centers. Solving the center on your U layer and solving the center on your D layer. And Sebastian solves the yellow and white centers as his first two centers, and in this scramble the yellow and white first two centers are actually quite nice, and you have this 2x1 white block in here and 2x1 yellow block in here, and this gives you the opportunity to solve the first two centers simultaneously. So the rest of the white pieces are in here, these two positions, and the rest of the yellow pieces are in these two positions. Now the solution for the first two centers is quite obvious. Like for the white, you will do F prime, white U prime, and then R prime for solving the white, just like that. However, you also have the yellow centers in here, the back and here. So before you actually do the U prime, the white U prime, if you put the yellow piece in here, so that U prime is also going to pair up the yellow at the back, thus giving you the opportunity to simultaneously solve the first two centers. And Sebastian held the cube like this with these two pieces in his back, and he did a D prime and then did a 3L like this, which is the same as doing F prime white U prime, but he just did it from this angle. So D prime, 3L prime, like that. And like I mentioned, this needs to be in here so that these two can be paired up at the back. R prime, white U prime. And now you would normally insert this with an R prime like that to create your first center. However, we know that we already have a yellow at the bottom, and we also know that we already have another yellow paired on the back. So inserting this with an R prime would get this back yellow block in the U layer, and this bottom yellow block is going to go in the B layer. So for solving the yellow center on top, you would have to do R prime U to R, which you can simultaneously from this position directly do R2 U to R, which solves both the centers at the same time. It's that easy. The first two centers were kind of lucky, and he got a nice case which allowed him to solve the first two centers simultaneously. Now the next step of Yao method is solving the three cross edges. And Sebastian started solving with these greens. So he saw that he had green piece in here, and he also had a green piece in here. So from here he did a rotation to keep this green on your D layer, and this case is quite an easy case. You do R2, U prime, then it's just easy pair like this. These two get paired up, and then you can insert this on your L slice by doing a U move just like that. Sebastian actually solved the blue edges next. So the pieces are at the back in here. So from here he did a X rotation, L prime, and then this is another easy case. You do U, R2 for pairing this up, and since we have green on the D layer, the blue needs to be opposite of the green edge. So this blue edge needs to be inserted in here. Just get the blue layer on top, and then you can insert with a U prime like that. And for the final cross edge, Sebastian solved the white and red, so we have the pieces in here, and from here he did a X prime, and then this is another easy case, R2, 3R prime, U, R prime. And since on a white cross, the red is on the right side of the blue, so this is blue, red needs to be on the right side of the blue, Sebastian inserted this red with the D prime, just like that. Inserting the red finished his first three cross edges, and now we can start solving the centers. Now for center solving, Sebastian saw that he had these two center cases in here, and he did a 3R2 for seeing what centers were on this side. And he saw that he had this orange bar in here, other orange piece was at the back in here, and the front in here. So the orange is actually an easy case. You have this in here, and these two centers pair up nicely just like that. Before you solve the orange, you have to preserve this, and for preserving this, he did a U prime, put this at the back for pairing up these two, pair up, get it on the top, And now, since the other orange is at the bottom, in here, generally people would just do a U and then wide R2 for inserting this orange on the bottom. However, because Sebastian has such good look ahead, he saw that he had this non-matching centers case, and on this side he has the same non-matching center case. So he preserved this with an RU to R, and inserting with RU to R gave him a nice setup for his remaining centers. So these two pair up nicely, just like that. We have a red 2x1 in here, and the other red is at the back. And one thing to note here is that Sebastian did not go for the half center setup. He solved the orange first, and then he individually solved the other centers as well. So he did not use the half centers that a lot of 4x4 tutorials seem to mention and recommend using. For finishing his centers, Sebastian did R, U prime, pairs up these two, 3 R prime, R, U2, L prime, L, and then just inserting the green, R, R prime, U2, R prime, U2, R prime. That finishes up his centers. And the final cross edge, which needs to come here, is in these two positions. And this is quite an easy case. It is just the 3-2-3 case that you get later during the edge pairing. And for solving this, you do a wide U prime, take this edge out by doing an RU R prime, and then you just flip it around and insert it with an F R prime F prime R and do a U move. So that paired up the cross edge for him, and currently the cross is D2 away from its usual position. So Sebastian did a D2 for fixing up his cross. So green is matching with green, red is matching with red, and blue is matching with blue. And inserted this orange with an R prime, just like that. Doing that, he finished his centers, and he also finished making his cross on bottom. Now we start with edge pairing, and Sebastian uses the 3-2-3 edge pairing method. First thing he saw, he had a paired edge, and generally when you are doing edge pairing and you get cases like this where you have an edge pair already made up, you just take it out and put it on the U layer. And that is what Sebastian did. He took this out with an L prime U L and inserted this unsolved edge pair, which he started solving. And when you are doing 3-2-3, you slice. So Sebastian did a wide U prime in here, the first slice, and we have yellow and red, rotate, U, R, U prime, R prime, orange and yellow, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. And a fun thing to note here is that while he was inserting this, he had another edge pair already made up. So when he inserted this, he already had 3 edge pair made up on his U layer, thus skipping one part of the 3-2-3 method. So what happens in 3-2-3 is that we first pair up 3 edges, then we pair up 3 more edges, and then lastly we pair up 2 edges. Now since Sebastian already got 3 edges on top, he essentially skipped one part of the 3-2-3, and now he only has to pair up 3 edges, which is what we are doing now, and in the end he will need to pair up 2 last edges. Let us continue. Orange and blue, and in this case you do not need to rotate, you can just insert with L moves like this. And generally what people do here is that they do a normal U and then rotate. Sebastian did not do that, he just did a normal D move like that, which from this position can be done with a thumb like this. So that is a cool, neat trick to know, which saves you a rotation. Like I mentioned earlier, Sebastian skipped one part of the 3-2-3, so he only paired up 3 edges and 3 other edges were already preserved. Now he only needs to solve the last 2 edge cases. And since he already has 6 edges paired up, he only has to pair up these last remaining edges. One of them is already inserted in here, and Sebastian inserted this other one with an F prime, U2, F. And this is the same case as the last cross edge case, and you solve it the same way you solve the last cross edge. U prime, take it out, flip and insert, U move. With that, Sebastian completed the 4x4 part of the Yao method, and he only has to solve the rest of the cube like a 3x3. And when you are using Yao method, you already have the cross solve, so you can skip the cross solving process and you can directly start doing the F2L. So this is the first F2L case. And this is an easy 2-gen insert, R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. And then we have this case, which generally people would insert with L moves like this. However, Sebastian wanted to use R moves. So from here, he did a Y2 rotation like this, and then inserted at the back with R moves. R prime U R. Then inserting this popped out this pair to the U layer, and he solved this next with a rotation U R prime U prime R. And then we have this last 2-gen F12 case remaining, R U R prime U prime R U R prime. And then we have this case, which is just the soon with an M move, like that. And then we have the R perm. And a good thing here is that Sebastian used the RUF R perm, and for bigger cubes other than 3x3, RUD R perms is not really recommended, and RUF R perms is what people prefer. If you're doing big cubes, definitely go for RUF over RUD. After he finished the R perm, he instantly stopped the timer and got a time of 19.41 seconds. And a good thing to note here is that Sebastian had a pretty clean finish. While the cube was still in the air, he just stopped the timer, so there was no doubt if his hand was touching the puzzle when stopping the timer or not, and the whole timer stop finish was very clean. What can we learn from Sebastian? First thing, look ahead. Sebastian has amazing look ahead, and he did not even pause for a single second during the execution of this solve. That just goes to show how amazing his look ahead is, and that is the look ahead that you should strive for. Sebastian had high 6 DPS during the execution of this solve, yet his look ahead did not falter. So number one thing that you can learn from Sebastian is to cultivate good look ahead and try not to pause, or have minimal pauses during your solves. Second, Sebastian has a preference for using RU moves over LU moves. LU moves in general is a bit slower than RU moves, so if you can, try to use RU and 2-gen moves as much as you can and wherever possible instead of going for slower alternatives. Third, plan out your first 2 centers in inspection and look ahead to your cross edges. Planning out the first 2 centers is not that difficult and allows you to look ahead to your cross edges so that you can transition from your first 2 centers to cross edges without any pause. Also, while you are planning your first 2 centers, if you see the opportunity, solve both the centers simultaneously, otherwise you can solve them one by one. Finishing your centers. Now generally it is said that you should be using half centers, and half centers does have some good cases, but I have seen that a lot of fast cubers do not use half centers. They solve each center individually, including Sebastian. And I have also seen Felix solving 1 center at a time. Half centers isn't something mandatory that you need to use in your solves. If you see good half centers cases, use them. Otherwise, fast solvers like Sebastian and Felix solve 1 center at a time. And solving 1 center at a time is not slow. Parity. Now Sebastian got a bit lucky here and he did not get a single parity in the solve. However, you should learn how to predict parity so that you know that you have parity coming and you can solve it as fast as you can without any pauses in between. And learning how to influence PL parity to your advantage is something that will be beneficial in the long run. You can skip OLL when you get OLL parity, and you can influence PL parity so that you get better PL cases instead of bad PL cases like G-perm for example. Rest is just practice. Sebastian has been consistently practicing for years, so this kind of record is not something that you can set easily. It requires dedication, discipline, and constant cubing over the years. And Sebastian has been cubing constantly for years now, and his practice and hard work made him successful. Those are the things that you can learn from Sebastian, and thank you to Sebastian for allowing me to use his solve video in this video, and that is it for this video guys. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more cubing content. I will see you next time, take care guys, and bye.